Um, for the kids out there, you're not going to want to watch this one. I didn't want to age restrict this because that would mean only 18 and over could watch it, and I think this will be appropriate for 13 and up. But if you're a kid, you don't need to be watching this. It's got a lot of sad stuff in it, so go play with your toys and be happy, and you'll have to deal with this kind of stuff down the road. And parents, please keep a close eye on your kids and watch what they're watching. So the trailer for The Iron Claw dropped yesterday, and I just wanted to not give my reaction to the trailer, but give my reaction to some of the reactions that I've seen to the trailer. I'll just, I guess, start with saying Kerry Von Erich is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and that's how I came to know about the Von Erich family. I remember seeing him in the wrestling magazines in the 80s, and then I was so excited to finally see him as the Texas Tornado in 1990. And then over the years, I'd be able to get some old tapes, and then with the internet, you could watch old world-class matches of his with his brothers, Kevin and David. And I became a big fan of the whole family. So there was a lot of excitement with the Von Erich family. A lot of great memories. I'm sure people who grew up on the Von Erichs in Texas have a lot of fond memories, but I'm seeing a lot of excitement for this movie, and I just think it might be a lot of people not realizing what they're in for, because this isn't a typical movie. It's not a piece of entertainment. So I just wanted to share, for what it's worth, for people who might not know what the Von Erich family went through, what they went through. And these aren't spoilers, because this isn't entertainment. This isn't a movie that you go in excited for with a tub of popcorn. It can and hopefully will be a tale of the indomitable human spirit, but it's also a tale of a lot of tragedy. WWE put out a DVD on World Class a while ago called The Triumph and Tragedy of World Class Championship Wrestling, which is where the Von Erichs wrestled in Texas. They own the territory. And their life isn't the triumph and tragedy, it's the triumph and tragedy and tragedy and tragedy and tragedy and triumph of the Von Erich family. So, in one way, I think it's nice to see excitement for them. It's nice to see them celebrated, but I think it's also important to treat it with a lot of somberness. And also keep in mind that Kevin Von Erich, who is the last remaining Von Erich brother, didn't have any involvement in this. I saw a tweet from one of his sons, Marshall, I think, saying his dad he wasn't involved with this. So I don't know how you do a movie about their life without Kevin. The whole point is he's the only one that can tell the tale that's left. So, hoping that they tell the right story, but you just never know with Hollywood, with movies. So for folks who aren't familiar with the history of the Von Erichs, I think this is a good thing to keep in mind. This is heavy. This is too much for any family to have to go through. But Jack Jr., Fritz Von Erich's oldest son, was electrocuted at the age of 7. That's Kevin's big brother. So just a little boy, he was playing out next to the camper or the trailer, and there was a loose power line in a puddle, and he passed away. 1984, the Yellow Rose of Texas, David Von Erich. He died of an intestinal problem while on a tour in Japan, and he was 25. In 1985, Mike Von Erich got a severe fever after shoulder surgery, and they said he shouldn't have been able to survive, but he did survive, but he ended up with brain damage from it. 1986, Gary Von Erich was in a motorcycle accident, which led to his foot being amputated, and he wrestled on a prosthetic foot for the rest of his career, which a lot of wrestling fans didn't know until after his death. He's the other really inspirational part of this story. In addition to Kevin, if you go and watch any Gary Von Erich match after 1987, it is mind-boggling how good he was on one foot. And that's how good he was on 2 feet. He was so good on 2 feet that when he lost one, he was still one of the best in the world. For the wrestling fans out there, I'm sure a lot of people will agree he was the natural talent of Barry Windham with the physique of Lex Luger. He was truly, with the exception of, I guess, Mike's skills, he was the total package in the ring. 1987, Mike Von Erich took his own life by overdosing on Placidil. He was 23 years old. They had a little brother, the youngest brother, Chris Von Erich, who had asthma his whole life, and the medication that he took to deal with the asthma left him with brittle bones and stunted his growth. So he had a few matches, but because his bones were so brittle, he broke his arm in one of them. And even though his heart was really into it, his body just wasn't. And in 1991, he took his own life by shooting himself. He was 21, and it seems he's not in the movie. He's not in the trailer. There's a shot of the family portrait near the beginning, and he's not in it, even though he was in all the family portraits, even as a little boy, because he was always the future champion. They always heralded him as the future of the Von Erich dynasty, and he's not in the trailer. I took a look at the IMDb for the Iron Claw, and there's no actor listed as Chris Von Erich either. There's one listed as Jack Jr., so they might cover that, but I really hope that they haven't just completely cut out an entire human being and an entire brother out of this. And then in 1993, Gary Von Erich took his own life with a gun after years of chronic pain related to his motorcycle accident and drug addiction to try to cope with the pain and the loss of his brothers. He was 33, and I still remember that one like it was yesterday. So, knowing all that, I hope that people who didn't know about all that stuff will keep in mind that this isn't a movie that you go in excited for, pumping your fists and buying a tub of popcorn and having a really fun time. The stuff that they did in the wrestling ring was a lot of fun, but this isn't a movie about just what they did in wrestling. It's about what happened to them. So, it's a movie, and they have to cut the flashiest, most exciting trailer in order to sell tickets. But for me, this is not It's not a typical movie. It's like The Crow, where, Brandon Lee was killed on set making that movie, or even something like Schindler's List. Some movies should be treated with a lot of somberness and respect. It's tricky with a movie like The Iron Claw because they were all so flashy and charismatic and the roaring of the crowd. It's a tough thing to do. I think a really great documentary, if you're really interested in learning about the Von Erichs, is a documentary that was made a while ago called Heroes of World Class, and Kevin Von Erich is directly involved with that. And they haven't cut anyone out. Any surviving person that lived through the world class era is there, except for, I think Michael Hayes wasn't because he was working for WWE. They go to the Sportatorium building where all the brothers wrestled. So I think that documentary really treats the subject in the right way. Good memories, but also cautionary tale. And one thing that I'm getting out of the trailer is I have the feeling, time will tell, but I have the feeling it's going to vilify the father, Fritz Von Erich. When Kevin Von Erich talks about his father, I think it's with the utmost class and grace that he talks about some of the sterner aspects of his father, but he always follows it up with, but I love my dad, and you got to understand he was a good guy. And when you make a movie about this family without Kevin's direct involvement, you lose that. You don't have that guy who's going, but I love my dad. It's complicated. Movies, I guess, just in general streamline things, and you lose that, at least a lot of them. You lose that complication, that gray area, and it becomes more about black and white, especially in the world of wrestling. So I just think about how I hope Kevin doesn't have to deal with that. People going up to him and telling him that they hate his father after watching that movie. What I hope that this movie has is a story that Kevin Von Erich shared after his brother Kerry died. It was in an interview where he talked about how he was so lost that he went into a gun shop and he didn't know what he was going to do, but he took a gun, and it was, I think, just in plain sight. And there was, I guess, a lull that came in, because when you see someone like that who's endured so much tragedy, they're almost radioactive. Like, you just don't know what to say or what to do to help someone who's endured so much more than one person ever should. And I think he just took a gun and was going to walk out with it. And someone in the gun shop just said, "Love you, Kev." And he put the gun back. After Kerry died, Kevin did an interview where he said, "I used to have 4 brothers, and now I'm not even a brother." And years later, when he told that gun shop story, he said that's when that guy said, "Love you, Kev." That's when he realized that he didn't have any blood brothers anymore. But he still had brothers all over the world that cared for him and loved him. So I think that's why you make this movie. I think that's the most important scene in the movie. And this is before the movie's come out. I haven't seen it. But I'm just hoping that that's in the movie, and that's the whole point of the movie. That doesn't matter what you go through, that you can keep going. And I don't know if Kevin will ever see this, or if any of his family will see this, but we used to follow each other on Twitter before he got banned for having an opinion. Yeah, but if this ever gets back to him, I don't expect it to. He lives in Hawaii now, and I'm sure he enjoys being in beautiful outside locations in Hawaii, a lot more than being on the internet. But if this ever gets back to him, I just want to say love you, Kev. I hope this movie is also a movie that will help people with suicidal thoughts. And I'm going to put some numbers up on the screen here. If you're feeling like you don't want to go on anymore, you do need to talk to somebody. You need to reach out. And I fully understand. I've heard from people that they tried to call the number and there was no answer, or the wait time was really long, or the person they dealt with wasn't good at what they're supposed to be good at. And, you know, that's horrible, but that's just life. If none of that helps, then I just want to say that if you want something you've never had, you're going to have to try something you've never done. So get yourself a Bible and get yourself one that has the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John with parts in red. I don't know if that'll show up on the camera, but the parts in red are the best parts. They're the words of Jesus Christ. So that's it. God bless Kevin and his family, and see you later.